A doctor whispered in my ear. "Don't go home tonight. Call the police." In that moment, I heard the sound of my world crumbling. Everything I had believed for 7 years, shattered by a single sentence. And that night, for the first time, I began to suspect my own family. Hello. My name is Grace Harrison. I'm 62 years old, and I live in a small town near Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Before I begin this story, if you find it helpful, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, like, and turn on notifications. Your small gesture of support helps ordinary people like me find the courage to speak the truth. Thank you. I used to run an auto repair shop. It was small, but everyone in the neighborhood knew me. People said, "Grace won't rip you off." I loved listening to engine sounds and finding problems. Getting oil on my hands, sweating through work, fixing someone's car that was my job. I lost my husband early and raised my son alone. It wasn't easy, but I wasn't the complaining type. Waking up at 5 in the morning, making breakfast, picking up tools, and opening the shop that was my life. When my son graduated from college and got married, I was truly happy. I thought I'd done my job. But 7 years ago, everything changed. It was when my grandson Ethan was 11. I got a call that he'd fallen down the school stairs. When I rushed to the hospital, my son was already gone. A car accident. Only my daughter-in-law Lauren and Ethan remained. Ethan had no feeling below the waist. The doctors said, "It's a spinal injury. Significant muscle loss. The chances of recovery are almost none." That day, I held Ethan's small hand and made a promise. "Grandma will take care of you for the rest of your life." I closed the shop. The day I took down the sign, the neighborhood guys came and said, "Grace, think it over." But I'd already decided. Something more important than engines had come along. My grandson. 7 years passed that way. Every morning at 5, I'd wake up and prepare Ethan's day. Check the wheelchair, organize medications, help with meals, do rehabilitation exercises together. Lauren had to work, so I took care of everything. My world lowered to wheelchair height. Kneeling to meet Ethan's eyes, worrying about every small slope, every threshold becoming an obstacle that was life. But I wasn't unhappy. Ethan was with me. That morning was ordinary too. Coffee slightly strong, half a cup of milk. Made just the way Ethan likes it. Ethan sat in the wheelchair, looking out the window. My grandson, now 18, was as quiet as an adult. "Grandma, we're going to the hospital today, right?" "Yes, quarterly checkup. It'll be over quickly." Lauren came into the kitchen. Her makeup was heavier than usual, and she seemed rushed. "Mom, I have a meeting today, so I need to leave early." "Have a good hospital visit with Ethan." She quickly kissed Ethan's forehead and left. The sound of the front door closing seemed unusually loud. The hospital was full of disinfectant smell. We walked down the familiar corridor to orthopedics. But there was an unfamiliar nameplate on the examination room door. "Dr. Robert Martin." Where was Dr. Sullivan? The nurse explained. Dr. Sullivan had an urgent matter. "Dr. Martin will see you today." I was a bit anxious, but thought it would be fine since it was just a quarterly checkup. Dr. Martin was younger than I expected. He looked to be in his early 50s, with a gentle voice. "Hello, Ethan. How are you feeling today?" He turned the chart slowly. Much more thorough than Drive. Sullivan usually was. Let me look at your legs. Doctor. Martin gently held Ethan's ankle. Then tapped the knee. Once, twice, 3 times. That's when it happened. Ethan's ankle trembled slightly. Doctor. Martin's expression hardened. Ethan, did you feel something just now? Ethan shook his head. No, nothing. Doctor. Martin tapped again. Another tremor. My heart pounded. Mrs. Harrison, could we talk outside for a moment? We went into the hallway. Doctor. Martin looked around, then whispered close to my ear. Don't go home tonight. Call the police. I froze. What? What do you mean? He returned to his normal voice. I'll prescribe pain medication. Pick it up at the counter. Then he pressed a small note into my hand. His phone number was written on the back. We returned home. Lauren was home earlier than usual. How did it go? What did the doctor say? Her voice was higher than normal. Fine. He said everything's okay. I spoke as naturally as possible. Ethan was unusually sleepy. Grandma, I'm so tired. The nurse gave you a vitamin shot. Lauren said. I was worried. A vitamin shot? I didn't see that. That night, I couldn't sleep. Doctor. Martin's words kept circling in my head. Don't go home. Call the police. What did it mean? Could the diagnosis I'd believed for 7 years be wrong? Moonlight came through the window. I stood outside Ethan's door, listening to his breathing. Sleeping soundly. My grandson. The child I'd cared for like my own life for 7 years. Could someone be lying to this child? The thought made my spine go cold. I quietly went to the kitchen and opened drawers. Old receipts, hospital records, medication envelopes. And among them, I found something strange. A regular transfer statement. The recipient was Sullivan Hospital. The amount was too large. What was this? I took out Drive. Martin's note with trembling hands. Tomorrow, I need to find answers. And if what I suspect is true, who have I been trusting for the past 7 years? That night, I sat at the kitchen table. In my hand was the transfer statement. Sullivan Hospital. Same date every month, same amount. Over 3 years' worth. What was this? Why was Lauren sending this money? The clock showed 11 at night. The house was too quiet. Lauren had been in her room for a while, and Ethan was asleep too. I took out my phone with shaking hands. Pressed Drive. Martin's number. I sent a text. Doctor. Martin, this is Grace Harrison. I found some strange documents at home. Can I come back to the hospital tomorrow? The reply came faster than expected. Mrs. Harrison, I checked Ethan's X-ray records today. The records from 7 years ago don't match the current ones. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., bring only Ethan. And please, tonight, sleep somewhere safe. My heart seemed to stop. Don't match? Does that mean the diagnosis for 7 years was wrong? Or, did someone deliberately lie? I slowly raised my head. At the end of the hallway, light seeped through Lauren's door. She wasn't asleep yet. What was she doing? The next morning was strange. Lauren woke up earlier than usual. She came down to the kitchen without makeup. Mom, didn't you sleep well last night? I saw your light on. Her voice was light, but her eyes were sharp. Yeah, indigestion. Really? Then I'll take Ethan to the hospital today. You rest, Mom. No. My voice was stronger than usual. I'll take him. You need to go to work. Lauren looked at me for a moment. Okay. Have a good visit. She left without even drinking coffee. The sound of her car starting was unusually rough. I woke Ethan. "Grandma, are we going to the hospital again today?" "Yes, the doctor wants to do some additional tests." "That doctor from yesterday? Not Drive, Sullivan?" "Yes, someone new." Ethan nodded. But something was off. Quieter than usual. Only ate half of breakfast. "Ethan, are you uncomfortable anywhere?" "No, just a bit tired." I checked Ethan's pill bottle. Pain reliever, muscle relaxant, vitamins. Same as usual. But there was one more. A small white pill. No label. "Ethan, what's this?" "I don't know. Mom said she got it from the nurse." "The nurse?" My hands trembled. I put that pill in my pocket. Dr. Martin led us to a quiet examination room. "Ethan, today we're going to do an MRI again. And nerve response tests too." "Why?" "We've been doing tests for 7 years. Still, it's good to check once more." Ethan looked at me anxiously. I squeezed Ethan's hand tight. The tests took 2 hours. During that time, I talked separately with Dr. Martin. "Doctor, please look at this." I took out the white pill from my pocket. Dr. Martin took it and his expression hardened. Where did this come from?" "It was in Ethan's pill bottle. No label. I need to send this to analysis. I'll ask a pharmacist friend urgently." "Doctor, what's going on?" Dr. Martin sighed. "Mrs. Harrison, what I confirmed yesterday. Ethan's X-ray from 7 years ago and now are different." "Different?" "The location of the spinal injury is different. And the 7-year-old record says there was nerve compression, but there's nothing like that in the actual images." My mind went blank. So, it was a lie? Someone likely manipulated the records. And if that pill is what I suspect, what is it? A type of muscle relaxant. Long-term use actually weakens muscles and dulls movement. Makes it look like paralysis. I almost collapsed right there. 7 years? Someone fed my grandson fake medicine for 7 years? Who would do such a thing? That's for the police to find out. "Mrs. Harrison, you can't go home tonight." After the tests, Lauren called. "Mom, did the tests go well?" "Yes, finished quickly. I'll pick up dinner tonight. Your favorite Chinese food." Her voice was too bright. Awkwardly so. "Lauren." "Yes?" There was an unlabeled pill in Ethan's bottle. "What is it?" A moment of silence over the phone. "Oh, that? A sleep aid the nurse gave. Ethan hasn't been sleeping well lately." "A prescription?" "Mom, why are you like this?" "It's nothing. Why didn't you tell me?" "I forgot." "Mom, I have to go into a meeting now. Let's talk tonight." The phone disconnected. My hands trembled. I could smell lies in Lauren's voice. I'd lived with her for 30 years. I knew. Dr. Martin approached. "Mrs. Harrison, my friend is a detective. May I contact him now?" I nodded. "But doctor, can I ask one thing?" "Yes, please." "Ethan, can he walk?" Dr. Martin hesitated, then said, "Neurologically, there's no problem. But the muscles are very weak from not using them for 7 years. With rehabilitation, he should be able to walk." Tears fell from my eyes. 7 years. My grandson could have walked for 7 years, and someone stopped it? "Doctor, I have somewhere to go tonight. My younger sister's place." "Good. Give me the address. So police can go immediately if needed." I took out my phone and called my sister Sharon. "Sharon, it's me. Sis? What's wrong? Can Ethan and I stay at your place tonight?" Something urgent came up. Of course. What happened? I'll tell you when I get there. Thanks. At 6 in the evening, we returned home. Lauren wasn't back yet. I quickly packed bags for Ethan and me. Some clothes, medicine, important documents. Grandma, where are we going? Aunt Sharon's. We'll stay there for a bit. Did you tell Mom? I'll tell her later. Ethan nodded with an anxious expression. At 7, we quietly left the house. Getting in the car, I looked back. The house we'd lived in for 7 years. The place I'd run around day and night taking care of Ethan. But now the house felt strange. Like I was seeing it for the first time. Sharon's apartment was 30 minutes away by car. When we arrived, Sharon opened the door. Sis, Ethan, come in. I've prepared the room. Thanks, Sharon. Sharon looked at my face and asked, Sis, is something wrong? I'll tell you later. Let me put Ethan to bed first. I laid Ethan in the small room. Must have been tired because sleep came quickly. But about an hour later, Ethan called me in a small voice. Grandma. You're not asleep? Grandma, I need to tell you something. I sat next to Ethan. What is it? Ethan spoke slowly, carefully. Sometimes, when I'm alone, I feel like my legs listen to me. What? My toes move, my knees bend. But when I tell Mom, she gets angry. Angry? Yes. She says, it's your imagination, you could hurt yourself more, don't try to move. And gives me more medicine. My heart pounded. Ethan, can you try moving your legs now? Ethan pulled back the blanket. Then slowly, very slowly, moved his toes. In that moment, I couldn't hold back tears. My grandson who'd been trapped in a wheelchair for 7 years, was moving his toes. Ethan, Grandma, am I strange? Am I a liar? No. I hugged Ethan tight. You did nothing wrong. The strange ones are other people. That night, I made a decision. No matter what anyone says, no matter what happens, I will uncover the truth. And I will save my grandson from this terrible lie. Even if it means accusing my own family. The next morning, I woke at 5. Sharon's apartment was unfamiliar. Different wallpaper, curtains, the angle of light. But Ethan slept peacefully. For the first time in 7 years, my grandson felt safe. 12 missed calls on my phone. All from Lauren. There were texts too. Mom, where are you? Where's Ethan? Why aren't you home? Please answer the phone. I'm worried. I'm going to file a missing person report with the police. I didn't reply. Instead, I texted Drive. Martin. Doctor, can we come to the hospital today? Ethan moved his toes. The reply came quickly. Come at 9. I'll be ready. I'll have my police friend on standby too. We went to the hospital early that morning. Dr. Martin led us to a small rehabilitation room. There were parallel bars with mirrors. A physical therapist was waiting too. Ethan, shall we try today? Ethan looked at me with a frightened expression. Grandma, I'm scared. It's okay. Grandma will hold you. I held Ethan's hand. The therapist released the wheelchair brake. Slowly. I'll support your waist. Ethan took a deep breath. Then grabbed the parallel bars. Once, twice, applying force. Knees trembling. Thighs tensing. And Ethan stood. For the first time in 7 years. My grandson was standing on 2 feet. Grandma. Tears fell from Ethan's eyes. I'm standing. I couldn't hold back tears. Yes, Ethan, you're standing. Doctor. Martin said quietly. Ethan, try taking one step forward. Slowly, Ethan moved 1 foot forward on trembling legs. Stumbled. The therapist and I caught him. It's okay, try again. Ethan applied force again, and took a step. Another step. Another step. 3 steps. For the first time in 7 years. The Ethan in the mirror was crying. I was crying too. Doctor. Martin wrote something on the chart and said quietly. Neurologically normal. There's muscle atrophy, but rehabilitation is possible. I knew what that meant. Ethan could have walked from the beginning. Someone had deliberately prevented it. After leaving the rehab room, I talked with Dr. Martin in the hallway. Mrs. Harrison, my friend Detective Keith Miller will arrive soon. Thank you, doctor. And the analysis results for the pill you asked about came back. Dr. Martin handed me documents. Diazepam derivative. A muscle relaxant. Long-term use actually weakens muscles and impairs motor function. It's a drug you can't get without a prescription. Who would give Ethan such medicine? That's what the police need to investigate. And ma'am, do you think there's more evidence at home? I nodded. Lauren's study. There's a file cabinet there. It was always locked. We should go with the police. That's when it happened. Lauren appeared at the end of the hallway. Her face was pale. No makeup, clothes wrinkled. Mom. She ran over. Mom, why didn't you answer? Where's Ethan? Lauren. My voice was cold. Ethan is being tested right now. What tests? Why didn't you tell me? Because you shouldn't know about these tests. Lauren's expression hardened. What? What are you talking about? Doctor. Martin intervened. Ms. Lauren, I'm Drive. Martin, Ethan's attending physician. If you have questions, please come to my office. No, I need to see Ethan now. You can't. My voice was stronger than usual. Lauren, you can't see Ethan right now. Why? I'm Ethan's mother. That's exactly the problem. Lauren's face turned white. Mom, you don't think. Lauren, do you know what medicine Ethan's been taking for 7 years? That's pain relievers and muscle relaxants. Muscle relaxants without a prescription. Lauren couldn't continue. Then the elevator opened and a man stepped out. A middle-aged man in a suit. Behind him was Dr. Sullivan. Lauren saw him and her face went even whiter. Uncle Arthur. It was my brother. Arthur looked at me and smiled coldly. Grace. Long time no see. I didn't respond. Arthur looked at Drive. Martin. Doctor, I'm one of Ethan's legal guardians. I need to see my nephew. Guardian? Doctor. Martin looked at me. Mrs. Harrison? No. Arthur is not a guardian. Grace, you're not in your right mind. 7 years of caregiving have clouded your judgment. Here are the court documents. Arthur pulled out papers. I snatched them. Conditional guardian designation documents. If I became mentally incompetent or died, Arthur would have control over Ethan's assets and medical decisions. When was this? 3 years ago. When you hurt your back. Lauren signed it. Lauren hung her head. My whole body trembled. So you kept Ethan in a wheelchair for 7 years? Arthur's smile faded. Grace, do you have proof? We do. A voice came from down the hallway. A man in a suit walked over. He held up a badge. Philadelphia Police, Detective Keith Miller. Detective Miller looked at me and nodded. Mrs. Harrison, I reviewed the documents you received yesterday. I took out the transfer statements from my bag. These 3 years of payments to Dr. Sullivan. Dr. Sullivan stepped back. Detective Miller took the documents. And this medication. Dr. Martin handed over the pill bottle. Illegally prescribed muscle relaxant. Estimated to have been administered to patient Ethan Harrison for 7 years. Detective Miller looked at Arthur. Arthur Harrison? Yes. Let's go to the station and talk. On what grounds? Medical fraud and child abuse charges. Arthur's face contorted. This is ridiculous. What's ridiculous is keeping a child who could walk in a wheelchair for 7 years. Detective Miller took out handcuffs. Dr. Sullivan tried to back away, but another officer blocked him. Dr. Sullivan, you need to come too. Lauren slumped against the wall. Mom, I didn't know. Uncle Arthur said he was just helping with Ethan's rehab costs. Lauren, my voice trembled. You knew. You were the one giving the medicine. Lauren started crying. Mom, I'm sorry. I had so much debt. Uncle Arthur said he'd pay it off. I didn't want to hear anymore. Detective Miller took Arthur and Sullivan away. Lauren sat in the hallway, crying. Dr. Martin put his hand on my shoulder. Mrs. Harrison, it would be best to move Ethan to a secure ward. Secure ward? Yes. A place with enhanced security. Just in case of any threats. I nodded. I returned to the rehab room. Ethan was sitting in the wheelchair, but his expression was different. There was hope. Grandma, what about Mom? I'll tell you later. I saw Uncle too. Why was he here? Ethan, we're going to move to a different room for a bit. Somewhere quiet. Why? Because Grandma needs to protect you. Ethan grabbed my hand. Grandma, I'm scared. It's okay. No one can hurt you anymore. We took the elevator down to the basement. The secure ward was quiet. There were security devices on the entrance doors, and CCTV cameras lined the hallway. I laid Ethan in a small hospital room. No windows, but it looked clean and safe. Grandma, how long do we have to stay here? Just a few days. Once the police finish investigating, we can leave. Then what? Then. I held Ethan's hand. We start fresh. You and me both. Ethan cried quietly. I cried too. Night deepened. From the hallway, I could hear Detective Miller and Dr. Martin's voices. We need to search the house. There will be more evidence. I'll accompany you. Need to check medical records too. I sat in the windowless room and thought. 7 years. My grandson was trapped for 7 years. My brother, my daughter-in-law, the doctor, they all lied together. Why? For money? For inheritance? For something so small, they stole a child's life? I clenched my fists. Now I have to fight. For the truth. For Ethan. And most of all, for myself. In a windowless room, on a night with no stars. I listened to my grandson's breathing and made a vow. This fight, I'll see it through to the end. No matter what anyone says. The next afternoon, I went home with Detective Miller. The moment I opened the door, I felt strange. The house I'd lived in for 7 years now felt like a crime scene. Mrs. Harrison, where should we start? Lauren's room. The study cabinet was always locked. We went upstairs. Lauren's study was neat. Too neat. As if someone had cleaned it. Detective Miller examined the cabinet. The lock is new. It was an old one until yesterday. Someone changed it. The detective took out tools. After a few attempts, the lock opened. The drawer inside was empty. They cleared the evidence. I almost collapsed. Then, we can't prove it now? Don't give up yet. Detective Miller felt around the back of the drawer. Usually these people don't clean up perfectly. There's something they missed somewhere. He tapped the back panel of the cabinet. Tap tap. The sound was different. There's a space here. The detective pushed aside the wooden panel. A hidden compartment appeared. Inside was an envelope. Detective Miller carefully pulled it out. He opened the envelope. Photos spilled out. Photos of Ethan. Ethan standing. Ethan walking. Ethan climbing stairs. All secretly taken. When were these taken? Dates were written on the backs. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Ethan could already walk. Someone knew. And hid it. There's more. Detective Miller pulled out documents. Bank transfer records. $5,000 monthly to Sullivan. A contract. Payment for medical record manipulation and false diagnosis. And letters. In Arthur's handwriting. I read the letter with trembling hands. Lauren, proceeding as planned. Grace doesn't suspect. When Ethan gets declared incompetent, the trust comes to me. Just keep giving the medicine until then. I'll keep sending money to Sullivan. Must not get caught. Next letter. Lauren, don't be impatient. When Grace collapses or Ethan gets declared an incompetent adult, it's over. Both legally unable to manage assets. Father's inheritance was mine originally. Grace stole it. Last letter. Problem. Sullivan's retiring. New doctor coming. Need to make records more perfect. Just in case, increase Ethan's dosage. Must never be seen walking. I cried reading the letters. My brother, my own older brother, did this. Detective Miller said quietly. Mrs. Harrison, this is sufficient evidence now. Detective. Yes? My daughter-in-law. What happens to Lauren? She's an accomplice. She'll be prosecuted. I hung my head. Then my phone rang. It was Lauren. Detective Miller nodded. Answer it. We're recording. I answered with trembling hands. Hello, Mom. Lauren's voice was shaking. Mom, I'm at the lawyer's office now. Uncle Arthur. Uncle Arthur is trying to pin everything on me. Lauren. Mom, I didn't know. Really? Uncle Arthur said he was just helping with Ethan's treatment costs. Lauren. My voice was cold. You didn't know? Yes. Then who gave Ethan medicine every morning? Silence. That was. The doctor prescribed it. Medicine without a prescription? Mom. And when Ethan said he could move his legs, who scared him and gave him more medicine? Lauren started crying. Mom. I had no choice. No choice? My voice got louder. Lauren, you chose. Every morning for 7 years you chose. Whether to protect your son or take the money. Mom, do you know how much debt I had? $200,000. Credit cards, student loans, hospital bills. So you sold your son? I didn't sell him. Lauren shouted. I just wanted to live. Without debt, without worries. Uncle Arthur said he'd pay it all off. Ethan couldn't walk anyway. He was really sick. Lauren. And honestly, Mom. Lauren's voice lowered. You got the inheritance too. Uncle Arthur's share too. Dad only favored you. Uncle was ignored his whole life. Try to understand Uncle's side too. Hearing those words, my whole body froze. Lauren, what? Do you know what you're saying right now? What? Your husband? My son? Ethan's father? Lauren couldn't continue. When he died in that car accident, Arthur came to the funeral. Cried and said he was sorry. Was that an act? Mom, that's. Arthur knew about Ethan's accident too. He planned it from then, didn't he? Silence. Lauren, answer me. Yes. That one word pierced my heart. Uncle Arthur contacted me 2 weeks after Ethan's accident. Said he'd help with treatment costs. And that it might actually be better if Ethan didn't recover. Better? If he lived as disabled, he'd get government support, you'd manage the trust. Then later when you couldn't, Uncle could legally manage it. I almost dropped the phone. So you two for 7 years. Mom, I really thought Ethan couldn't walk. Really? Dr. Sullivan said so. Spinal injury. Then the photos? What photos? The photos in the hidden compartment in your study. Photos of Ethan walking. Lauren's breathing stopped. That's Uncle Arthur. You knew, Lauren. You saw them too. No. Photos from 4 years ago. You already knew then. That Ethan could walk. Lauren began sobbing. Mom, I just what? I was scared. Lauren wailed. If it came out that Ethan was better, Uncle Arthur would. And I'd already received so much money. I couldn't turn back. My hand holding the phone trembled. Lauren. Yes, Mom. You're my daughter-in-law. The person my son loved. Mom. But from now on, you're not my family. Mom. I hung up. Detective Miller took out his radio. Locate Lauren Harrison. Arrest warrant issued. Roger. Downtown law office, 3rd floor. Move in. The detective looked at me. Mrs. Harrison, are you okay? I couldn't answer. 30 minutes later, the radio crackled. Lauren Harrison secured. Transporting to station. What about Dr. Sullivan? Arrested at airport attempting to flee. Detective Miller lowered the radio. Mrs. Harrison, it's over now. Over? I stared blankly out the window. Detective, is this really over? Legally, yes. But what about Ethan? Can we get back 7 years? Detective Miller couldn't answer. I sat alone in Lauren's study. Letters scattered on the floor. Photos too. Ethan walking. Ethan smiling. Ethan free. All those moments had been hidden. 7 years. 2,555 days. 61,320 hours. The time my grandson was trapped. I picked up one photo. Ethan climbing stairs. Shot from behind. Secretly taken. Who took it? Lauren? Arthur? Or both? I held the photo to my chest. And for the first time, I really cried. Cried out loud. Everything I'd held in for 7 years poured out. Anger. Betrayal. Sadness. And most of all, guilt. I didn't notice. I was right there. I took care of Ethan every day. How did I not know? Detective Miller knocked on the door. Mrs. Harrison, let's go back to the hospital. Ethan is waiting. I wiped my tears. Yes, we should go. I stood up. Put the photos in my pocket. I'll show them to Ethan someday. How strong he was. How much he fought. And that truth ultimately wins. Leaving the house, I looked back. The house that was a prison for 7 years. The house built on lies. I won't come back here now. I'll start fresh. With Ethan. With truth. I got in the car. Detective Miller sat in the driver's seat. Mrs. Harrison, we need to prepare for trial. You'll have to testify. I know. It will be hard. Accusing family. It's okay. I looked out the window. They're not my family anymore. The car started. Headed to the hospital. Where Ethan was waiting. Where my real family was. The trial took 3 months. When I stood in the witness box, I trembled. But Ethan was watching from the back of the courtroom. Not in a wheelchair, but sitting in a chair. That sight was enough. Arthur was sentenced to 15 years. Medical fraud, child abuse, financial fraud. Dr. Sullivan got 10 years. Medical license permanently revoked. Lauren got 5 years. No probation. The judge looked at Lauren and said, "You were a mother. That fact makes your crime heavier." Lauren hung her head and cried. I didn't look at her. The day we left the courthouse, the sunlight was blinding. Ethan held my arm, using a cane, but walking on his own. "Grandma, is it over now?" "Yes, it's over. So what do we do now?" I smiled. "We live. In our own way." We moved to a small town an hour from Philadelphia. The house was small. 2 bedrooms, 1 living room. But there was a yard. With grass, trees, and open sky. Ethan cried when he first saw the yard. "Grandma, can I run here?" "Of course." "Really?" "Yes, really." Ethan slowly walked out into the yard. Put down the cane and stepped on the grass. 1 step, 2 steps. Then slowly began to run. He stumbled, almost fell, but didn't stop. I stood on the porch and watched. My grandson running for the first time in 7 years. That night, I pulled out my old toolbox. It was dusty. I hadn't opened it in 7 years. Wrench, screwdriver, pliers. Familiar weights in my hands. I started building a small workshop in the corner of the yard. Ethan got physical therapy every Tuesday and Thursday. At first, even holding the parallel bars and walking was hard. The muscles were too weak. Muscles unused for 7 years. The therapist said, "It takes time. Don't rush." But Ethan didn't give up. He practiced at home every day. 1 lap around the yard, 2 laps. With the cane, sometimes holding my arm. After 1 month, Ethan could walk without the cane. After 2 months, he could climb stairs. After 3 months, he could run. When I was working in the yard, Ethan would come and ask, "Grandma, can I help?" "You?" "Yes, I want to learn too." I handed him a wrench. "Then let's start with this?" Ethan held the tool with a serious expression. Oil got on his hands. On his cheeks too. I smiled. "Yes, that's how you do it." When fall came, I rented a small garage space on the outskirts of town. A small warehouse with 2 lift gates. I hung a sign, "Grace's Garage," an old name. The sign I'd taken down 7 years ago. The first customer was a neighbor. "My pickup won't start. Can you take a look?" Of course. I opened the hood, listened to the engine sound, checked the battery. My hands remembered. 7 years had passed, but my body knew. It's the alternator. I'll replace it. An hour later, the truck was running again. The man smiled and said, "Thank you, Mrs. Harrison. I'll be back anytime." That evening, I slept comfortably for the first time. In 7 years, Ethan enrolled at the community college. Got his GED and started regular classes. "Grandma, I want to study mechanical engineering." "Mechanical engineering?" "Yes, fixing things like you. Cars, machines." I stroked Ethan's head. "That's a good idea." After school, Ethan came to the garage. Put on work clothes, stood next to me, handed me tools. "Grandma, this one?" "Yes, good job." Customers looked at Ethan and asked, "Is he your son?" "My grandson. He's a good kid." And works well too. Ethan smiled shyly. I loved that smile. It was a real smile. Winter came. On a snowy day, Ethan and I sat in front of the fireplace. Ethan was quiet for a while. Then asked softly, "Grandma, yes? Someday. Can I forgive Mom?" I put down my coffee cup. Thought for a long time. Ethan, yes? Forgiveness isn't for the other person. Then? It's for ourselves. Ethan looked at me. Forgiveness is a door we open ourselves so we don't stay trapped in the past. Whether that person changes or not, we have to move forward. Then did you forgive Uncle Arthur? I shook my head. Not yet. And honestly, I don't know when I'll be able to. What about Mom? Lauren is more complicated. Why? Lauren loved you. Really. But her fear was bigger than that love. Debt, money, anxiety. Ethan hugged his knees. Then what should I do? Don't rush. And don't close the door. When your heart is ready, decide then. What if I'm not ready? That's okay too. I held Ethan's hand. Ethan, forgiveness isn't an obligation. It's a gift. You can give it or not. Ethan nodded. Outside the window, snow was falling. Quiet, still, peaceful. Spring came. Flowers bloomed in the yard. Tulips Ethan planted. The garage was busy. Neighbors brought their cars, and word spread. Go to Grace's garage, she fixes things honestly. Ethan walks alone now. Runs too. Climbs stairs. Sometimes his legs hurt. Because the muscles aren't completely healed yet. But he doesn't complain. Grandma, I like the pain. Why? Because it feels like I'm alive. I cried hearing those words. One evening, we sat in the yard. The sun was setting. The sky was orange. Ethan asked, "Grandma, are you happy?" Yes. Really? Really. But what about the past 7 years? Don't you regret them? I looked at the sky. I do regret them. Then? But Ethan, we're here now because of those 7 years. This moment. What do you mean? The pain didn't make us weak. It made us stronger. It gave us eyes to see truth and courage to reject lies. Ethan nodded. Grandma, yes? Thank you for helping me walk. You walked, Ethan. No, I could walk because you believed in me. I hugged Ethan. The wind blew. The wind of freedom. The wind welcoming us out of a prison without bars. Before I end this story, I want to tell you one thing. I'm an ordinary person, not special. But here's what I learned. Love doesn't fear doubt. Real love must be able to question. Must be able to doubt, must be able to find truth. If someone says, "Don't doubt me," be careful. Because truth doesn't need to hide. And one more thing. It's never too late. Just as I reopened my garage at 62, just as Ethan started walking again at 18. Life is longer, wider, and fuller of possibilities than we think. Right now, my grandson is studying in the college library. I'm listening to engine sounds in the garage. And we are free. Really. Thank you for watching. I hope you stand on the side of truth. And if you love someone, love them truly. Without lies. What bound us wasn't steel, but lies. And we walked out of that prison without bars, side by side.